Hello player, today we will analyze the match between Mihail with the white pieces and Liepins with the black pieces. c4. Knight f6. Knight c3. e6. Knight f3. b6. e4. d5. The evaluation became 1.6, this was a serious mistake, the best move was bishop b7. For example, bishop b7, e5, knight e4, queen c2, knight g5. With a balanced game, d5, e5. This move was inaccurate, the best move was c, captures on d5. For example, c, captures on d5, e, captures on d5, e5, knight e4, knight captures on e4. With an advantage for white, e5, knight e4, c, captures on d5, e, captures on d5. This move was inaccurate, the best move was knight captures on c3. For example, knight captures on c3, d, captures on c3, queen captures on d5, queen a4 check, knight d7, bishop b5, bishop b7, kingside castling, a6, c4, queen d3, bishop c6, b5, c, captures on b5, a, captures on b5, queen captures on b5, queen captures on b5, bishop captures on b5, queenside castling. With an advantage for white, e, captures on d5, knight captures on e4, d, captures on e4, queen a4 check, bishop d7, queen captures on e4, bishop c6, queen g4. This move was inaccurate, the best move was queen c2. For example, queen c2, bishop captures on f3, g, captures on f3, bishop c5, queen e4, c6, b4, bishop d4, rook b1, queen d5, queen captures on d5, c, captures on d5, f4, f6, rook g1. With a decisive advantage for white, queen g4, bishop d5. This move was inaccurate, the best move was queen d7. For example, queen d7, h3, bishop d5, d4, knight c6. With an advantage for white, bishop d5, bishop e2, knight d7. This move was inaccurate, the best move was h5. For example, h5, queen a4 check, queen d7, queen captures on d7 check, knight captures on d7, kingside castling, bishop e7. With an advantage for white, knight d7, kingside castling, h5, queen f4. This move was inaccurate, the best move was queen a4. For example, queen a4, c6, d4. With a decisive advantage for white, queen f4, bishop e7, d4, knight f8, bishop d2, knight e6, queen e3. This move was inaccurate, the best move was queen f5. For example, queen f5, h4, bishop e3. With an advantage for white, queen e3, queen d7, bishop c3. This move was inaccurate, the best move was rook d1. For example, rook from f, d1. Queenside castling. f4. With an advantage for white. Bishop c3. Rook d8. This move was inaccurate, the best move was queenside castling. For example, queenside castling. Knight e1. g5. With a balanced game. Rook d8. Knight d2. This move was inaccurate, the best move was rook d1. For example, rook from f, d1. Kingside castling. h4. With an advantage for white. Knight d2. c5. d captures on c5. Bishop captures on c5. Queen g3. This move was inaccurate, the best move was queen h3. For example, queen h3. Rook h6. King h1. With a balanced game. Queen g3. Rook h6. Bishop f3. Rook g6. Queen h3. Knight f4. Queen captures on d7 check. Rook captures on d7. g3. h4. King h1. Knight e2. Bishop captures on d5. Knight captures on c3. b captures on c3. Rook captures on d5. Knight f3. h captures on g3. f captures on g3. Rook c6. c4. Rook d7. Rook from a, d1. Rook captures on d1. Rook captures on d1. Bishop b4. Rook d4. Bishop c3. Rook e4. Rook e6. Rook e3. Bishop b2. Rook e2. Bishop c3. King g2. f6. King h3. King f7. King g4. Bishop captures on e5. The evaluation became 4.1. This was a serious mistake, the best move was rook c6. For example, rook c6. e6 check. Rook captures on e6. With a balanced game. Bishop captures on e5. Rook d2. The evaluation became -0.1. This was a serious mistake, the best move was rook captures on e5. For example, rook captures on e5. Rook c6. Rook e4. g5. Rook d4. With a decisive advantage for white. Rook d2. Bishop c3. Rook d7 check. Rook e7. Rook captures on e7 check. King captures on e7. King f5. King f7. Knight h4. a6. g4. Bishop e1. Knight g6. Bishop f2. This move was inaccurate, the best move was b5. For example, b5. c captures on b5. a captures on b5. h4. Bishop d2. With a balanced game. Bishop f2. f4. Bishop g1. h4. Bishop f2. h5. Bishop g1. The evaluation became 1.6. This was a serious mistake, the best move was bishop g3. For example, bishop g3. King e4. King e6. King f3. Bishop d6. Knight h4. King e5. Knight f5. Bishop f8. King e3. Bishop c5 check. King d3. Bishop f8. Knight h4. Bishop d6. With a balanced game. Bishop g1. Knight f4. Bishop f2. This move was inaccurate, the best move was bishop e3. For example, bishop e3. Knight d5. Bishop c5. With a decisive advantage for white. Bishop f2. Knight d3. This move gives back part of the advantage, the best move was king e4. For example, king e4. Bishop g3. Knight e2. Bishop f2. Knight f4. Bishop g3. Knight d5. Bishop f2. Knight c7. King g8. Knight captures on a6. King h7. Knight c7. With a decisive advantage for white. Knight d3. Bishop g1. This move was inaccurate, the best move was bishop g1. For example, bishop g1. Knight b4. Bishop c5. Knight d5. Bishop f2. King e4. Bishop g1. Knight f4. f5. With a decisive advantage for white. Bishop g1. Knight b4. This move gives back part of the advantage, the best move was knight f4. For example, knight f4. Bishop e3. Knight g6. With a decisive advantage for white. Knight b4. f5. Knight c6. Bishop f2. Knight d8 check. King e7. Knight e6. King f7. For example, knight c7. Bishop e1. King e4. With a decisive advantage for white. Knight c7. Bishop g3. Knight d5. Bishop f2. King e4. Bishop g1. This move was inaccurate, the best move was king e6. For example, king e6. Knight c7 check. King d7. Knight b5. King e6. Knight c3. Bishop h4. With a decisive advantage for white. Bishop g1. Knight c3. This move gives back part of the advantage, the best move was knight f4. For example, knight f4. Bishop h2. Knight g6. Bishop g1. King d5. With a decisive advantage for white. Knight c3. Bishop f2. The evaluation became 4.4, this was a serious mistake, the best move was g6. For example, g6. Knight e2. Bishop h2. h6. Bishop d6. Knight c3. King g8. King d5. Bishop a3. King c6. Bishop c5. Knight d5. King h7. Knight captures on f6 check. King captures on h6. Knight d7. Bishop g1. Knight captures on b6. King g5. c5. King captures on g4. Knight c4. g5. King b5. Bishop h2. King captures on a5. Bishop b8. King a6. King f3. King b7. Bishop f4. f5. g4. Knight d6. Bishop captures on d6. c. Captures on d6. g3. a6. g2. a7. g1. a8. Queen g4. King c7 check. King f2. With a decisive advantage for white. Bishop f2. For example. King d5. g6. H captures on g6 check. King captures on g6. King c6. Bishop d4. Knight b5. With a decisive advantage for white. King d5. g6. H captures on g6 check. King captures on g6. King c6. Bishop d4. Knight d5. King g5. Knight captures on b6. King captures on g4. c5. f5. King d5. Bishop captures on c5. King captures on c5. That was a good move, he doesn't let the advantage slip away. f4. King b5. f3. Knight c4. White's victory. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and leave your suggestions.